Shalom, we're here once again, and this is Chris Wilson with Torah and Messiah YouTube channel. I will be bringing you today, When Does the Day Begin by the late Elder Voy Wilks. So get your popcorn ready, or your sparkling water, your hummus and cucumbers, whatever you want, and enjoy the ride as we look into the writings of the late and great Voy Wilks on When Does the Day Begin. Here we go. When Does the Day Begin? By Voy Wilks, April 18th, 1991. The Sabbath of Yahweh begins at sunset and ends 24 hours later at sunset. Remember the days as revealed in Genesis chapter 1? Each and every 24-hour day started with evening. Quote, in the evening and the morning were the first day, end quote. Genesis chapter 1, verse 5, verse 8, verse 13, etc. In the book of Leviticus, we learn that the unclean were to bathe themselves in water and be unclean until evening, that is, sunset. Deuteronomy 23 and verse 11 and Leviticus 22, 6 and 7. King Ahab died in the evening at sunset. 1 Kings chapter 22 verses 35 and 36 and 2 Chronicles chapter 18 verse 34. At a later time, scriptures indicate the same time of day, sunset, as the end of one day and therefore the beginning of another day. Yeshua the Messiah went into the city of Capernaum and taught on the Sabbath day. Mark chapter 1 verse 21 and 22. After leaving the synagogue, he entered the house of Simon Peter and healed Peter's mother-in-law. It was proper to heal on the Sabbath day, but Jewish authorities did not accept this view. So most people did not bring their sick to be healed until after the Sabbath was passed, indicated in the following words. Mark chapter 1 verses 32 through 35. That evening at sundown, they brought to him all who were sick or possessed with demons. Luke chapter 4 and verse 16. On another occasion, Yeshua worshipped on the Sabbath, as was his custom. Luke chapter 4 and verse 40. Quote, now when the sun was setting, all those who had any that were sick with various diseases brought them to him, and he laid his hands on every one of them and healed them. End quote. The setting sun ended the Sabbath. Afterward, the people felt free to ask Yeshua to heal their sick. The Messiah died about the 9th hour of the day, that is 3 p.m., according to Matthew 27:46. And this was the preparation day for the high annual Sabbath, Abib 15th. Therefore, the Jews did not want Yeshua's body to remain on the tree on the Sabbath day. John 19:31. Joseph and his friend took Yeshua down from the tree and dressed him for burial between 3 and sunset, 3 p.m. and sunset. John 19:38-41. Looking at John 19, verse 42, quote, so because of the Jewish day of preparation for the high annual Sabbath, as the tomb was close at hand, they laid Yeshua there, end quote. Luke chapter 23 and verse 54 from the King James states, and that day was the preparation, and the Sabbath drew on. All these scriptures combined make it abundantly clear that the Savior was buried hurriedly late on the preparation day, just minutes before the Sabbath began. Sunset was the dividing line between the preparation day and the Sabbath day. Since a new day begins at the instant the old day ends, the above considerations locate accurately the boundary of each and every Sabbath, therefore the beginning and ending of each and every day. This is clearly shown in other scriptures as well. Leviticus chapter 23 and verse 32 from the Moffat version, quote, the day of atonement, shall be an entire rest for you, and you must abstain and fast. From sunset on the 9th day to sunset on the 10th day, you shall hold your Sabbath, end quote. Deuteronomy chapter 21, verses 22 and 23, quote, and if a man has committed a crime punishable by death, and you hang him on a tree, his body shall not remain all night upon the tree, but you shall bury him the same day, end quote. In Joshua chapter 8, verse 29, looking at the James Moffat version, we see that Joshua hung him on a tree until evening, and at sunset Joshua ordered his body to be taken down from the tree. We also read in Joshua chapter 10, verses 26 and 27 from the same translation by James Moffat that, quote, then Joshua hung them on 5 trees, and on the trees they remained hanging till evening. At sunset, Joshua ordered the bodies to be taken down. So these scriptures clearly indicate the 24-hour day begins at sunset. If the ordinary day does so, then the Sabbath also begins at sunset. In the book of Genesis, it is recorded that the Sabbath began after the sixth day had ended. Genesis chapter 1, verses 31 through chapter 2, verse 3, and I quote, "And there was evening and there was morning, a sixth day. Thus the heavens and the earth were finished, and all the hosts of them. And on the seventh day Elohim finished his work which he had done, and he rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had done. So Elohim blessed the seventh day and hallowed it, because on it Elohim rested from all his work which he had done in creation." End quote. For more free literature, write to Assembly of Yahweh, Seventh Day, P.O. Box 509, Cisco, Texas 76437, or Assembly of Yahweh, Seventh Day, P.O. Box 9500, Port Harcourt, Nigeria. Well, folks, in the meantime, if you enjoy these writings by the late and great Elder Voy Wilks, send me comments. Let me know what you think. Let me know your input on the sacred name of the Holy Scriptures, or when a day begins, or any other questions or inputs that you have. I do go back and read all my comments, and I try to respond to as many as I can. So hope you enjoyed that article. What a wonderful legacy that the late Voy Wilks has left behind for his family there in Cisco, Texas. Such an awesome place. But you folks have a wonderful day. May Yahweh be with you and bless you and give you much shalom. Until next time, y'all have a great one. Bye-bye.